be chewing on sand for weeks.
Thank God we found...
So recently I finished my playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Yes, on easy mode. Don't at me. I like a chill I like a chill playthrough of things, okay? And I will go back through it on hard mode, okay? So I'm not a complete and total sissy. But that game puts most of the AAA games, and obviously, sorry, the quadruple A Skull and Bones. Sorry, Ubisoft, I forgot to mention that. It puts a lot of them to shame. Because I did mention this in the previous video, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth went into production in 2019, just 1 year before Remake came out. Yes, granted, Remake began production in 2015, and obviously a lot of the assets, character models and whatnot were just shifted over to Rebirth, but that's fine. But when you look at Rebirth and Remake, with how little time that they were developed compared to Skull and Bones and Suicide Squad and a lot of other games that, I mean, even Cyberpunk, even though I think Cyberpunk 2077 now is one of the best Western RPGs and a phenomenal game, when it released, it was not at all in the slightest, and that was in development for a long time. But here, with Rebirth, it's not just the solid gameplay, it's the amount of content and attention to detail within that content that blows my mind. It's insane. You get side, I think there's 35 side quests, which are not super generic. They're nothing like super extravagant like The Witcher 3's, but they're still pretty good. For the most part. And there's also the in-game card game as well, Queen's Blood, with like 140 odd cards to collect and create your deck and go and fight all the people around and continually keep battling in the Golden Saucer if you want. You can collect all types, you can unlock items, special like collectible items, which you have to do a side quest to unlock the ability to then be able to display them at a character called Johnny's, like, he's got an inn at Costa del Sol, which is pretty cool. So you have that to do as well if you want to, and there's a lot of treasures to put in there. Not to mention all the open world environmental stuff that you get to do. Yes, which does replicate from place to place. Sometimes there's a slight change on them, a slight variation in what you're doing, but for the most part, it is just copy and paste. But it's completely optional. You don't have to do it, so don't blow your mind or anything. Not to mention the fact that in each different area there's a different way of traversal. So in the grasslands, which is where you start, you just have the normal chocobo. In the Junon area, you get the chocobo that climbs up walls. In Corral, you do get a chocobo, which is normal, but you also then get the car for the desert part, so you get the buggy thing, so you can drive around that way, which is pretty cool. In the Gongaga region, you have the chocobo which leap on those big-ass mushrooms and glide through the air. There's so much. There's so much. It just goes on and on and on. And yeah, just the mini games itself. Like, a lot of people are complaining about the mini games. I mean, I listen to those complaints and I think to myself, are these people complaining about content being put in their game? A lot of people, myself included, think £70 is far too much for video games these days. Here I'd say, if 70 quid is going to be the norm, then what they did with Rebirth has to be the norm. The amount of stuff in this game, I believe, does warrant the 70 quid price tag, because there's loads in there, and even the chocobo racing. They put a lot of effort into it. It's not just, there you go, one track, the race, there you go. There's different tracks, there's different music that plays there. You can obviously customize your chocobo in the open world and in the race, which applies different stat bonuses to speed and acceleration and all that kind of stuff as well to think about. There's like, I think there's 20 races where you've got rankings as well. You have the bike minigame, you have the 3D fighter minigame thing, and you have the Colosseum battle. You also have the underground Colosseum battle that you got to do for the story underneath the saucer in the Dust Bowl. Again, that was really cool. There's also all of the artificial intelligence stuff that you do for like the battle simulator stuff as well. There's those. There's just stuff. I'm not going to reel off everything, but there is a lot of content in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Not to mention the fact that the story itself is a decent length. It's not short. However, it's not Persona 5 long. No shade at Persona 5. I love Persona 5, but my god in heaven, that game is long. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is not that long, but nothing feels half-assed, and that is the important thing. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth feels like it was done with love and the intention of making it as awesome as it can be. Character animations, voice acting, story, everything just feels like money was thrown at it. And although I really do love Final Fantasy Final Fantasy 16, it does make Final Fantasy 16 look like it was an afterthought, which is a shame, with all the stuff that was given to Rebirth and was not given to Final Fantasy 16. It is, I don't know why, but that's just the way it feels. But this Final Fantasy VII Rebirth puts a lot of modern games to shame, really, with what they've done here. They've done a fantastic job, and I can't wait for the third and final part for the Final Fantasy VII remake trilogy thing. It's just all exciting. But please let me know in the comments down below what you think of Rebirth. Are you one that hates all the minigames? If you do, that's cool. That's completely your prerogative. You can hate them. I don't understand why. It's content. A lot of it is optional. Yes, you have to do some of them to progress the story, but breaking up the gameplay a little bit isn't going to kill you. You know, it's just it breaks up any kind of repetitiveness or monotony that comes with a lot of other games, which is just the same thing again and again and again. But please let me know what you think down below, and as always, thank you very much for watching.
What are you doing?
I'm not doing anything.